Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you today just a little bit about one of the myths. I've kind of isolated and identified 5 myths that you are going to run into as you traverse this road to your career in cybersecurity, and I'm gonna deal with these, one each day until we cover all 5 of them. And today is Monday, so we're just gonna deal with the first one. And that first myth is certain degrees and certifications equal a job. Now, look, I'm in the business. Part of my business is to, is to provide certification and training. That's something that I do on a very regular basis, and I make a good living, a good career, spending some of my time doing that. But I got to tell you, having a certification and having a specific degree does not guarantee you a job. And the reason I want to make that clear is because you still need skills, okay? And what I mean by that is if you have a certification that says you should be able to do A, B, and C, well, you need to not only have the certification that says you can do those things, you need to actually be able to do those things. All right? You still need skills, and let's look and see what that's actually talking about. So getting the certification is a great first step, but you need to actually have the skills to do some of the things that we're talking about. For example, if you have on your resume that you are skilled in pen testing or doing things like that, and you understand web applications and you're able to do web application security testing or pen testing, and you couldn't look at this screen and tell me one of the things that you would be trying to attack here, which it's SQL injection, by the way. But if you didn't know that just from looking at this, then you probably don't really meet the skill level to say that you could do web app pen testing or that you understand really even what web app pen testing is. So you actually need the skills. Tell you guys a quick story here. I had a distant cousin that found out that I was into this business, and he approached me at this family gathering, and kind of told me like, hey, I've been trying to get a job. I've got all my stuff together. I've been in IT for a while, and I'm trying to do security. And I went on 17 interviews, and I didn't get a job call back yet. And the first thing I did was congratulate him, like, hey, you've been on 17 job interviews. That means you definitely got, because he had the right certs, the right degrees, and all that. And I'm like, you got your prerequisites in there. You're going to get the calls because you got these degrees, and you got your 2 degrees, and you got your certifications. So as we talk, I'm asking him, he's like, well, I was like, well, what do you think happened? Like, what happened in the interviews that made you feel like, it's that maybe they didn't call you back? Well, it's like, well, I don't know. Like, they were asking me a lot of crazy questions, like they were trying to trip me up or like they were discriminating against me or something. I'm like, well, what kinds of questions? And this person was interviewing for a pen testing job. He's trying to get more into pen testing. It's like, well, they were asking me crazy questions about like, some tool called Nmap. And when he said some tool called Nmap, light bulb went off in my head. Like, wait a minute, like you're applying for a pen testing role, and everybody that's in pen testing, what Nmap is. You've used it, you've had your hands on it. Even if you just went and got your CE8 certification, you know what Nmap is. So after spending an hour sitting there, over drinks and talking to this person, it's like, yeah, like to be honest with you, I wouldn't have hired you. I wouldn't hire you. And, he was a little bit taken aback by that. But, I was just kind of being honest with him. Like, look, you have the certification, you have the right degrees, but you clearly can't do any of the things that those certifications say you're supposed to be able to do because you don't even understand the basic tools and the basic mechanisms that are involved with what the certification says you're supposed to be able to do. So, I gave him some advice and told them to actually just go back and get some hands-on, get some practice, because he needed the skills. He had the degree. He'd done all the right things, all the things that we tell people to do, just didn't have the skills. Okay. Now, another thing too, along with that myth of degrees and certs equal a job, look, the industry is hungry for talent. We need talent. We're hungry, but we're not starving. And what I mean by that, demand is high, but we still have standards, right? If you get your certs, get your degree, you come into an interview, and you can't do basic things. Because I mean, especially if you're applying for a technical role in cybersecurity, you're definitely going to find that, we're not going to necessarily hire you or even look at you seriously if you can't do technical things, especially if we're hiring for a technical position or a hands-on position and you can't do those things. My thing is, why put that on your resume if you can't do it? You're just setting yourself up for failure. So while we want the talent, while we want you here, while we want people that are aggressive at getting their degrees and certifications, more than that, right now, we need skills. And that's kind of what it heads down to. Now, you're going to run into things about not being able to have a lab environment, not being able to get the hands-on because you can't get the job to get the hands-on. But you can get around that. There's several places out there you can go and practice and learn things. And we actually have InfoSec Skills that I'm a big part of. You can go and sign up for that. As you can see there on the screen, if you go sign up for it, because you need somewhere to go practice safely, right? But if you go look at that, you can use my code Evans50 here, and you can get 50% off of the $300 a year, and you get it for $150 a year. Or instead of the $34 a month, you get it for $17 a month. But the main thing is start developing your skills. And I would even say you might want to start working on that before you start attacking the certifications, because the skills are what's going to get you the job. Okay, so that's dealing with myth one. We wanted to make sure you kind of understood those things. And I will see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about myth number 2.